What's going on, gamers? Today we're back with some more Marvel Midnight Suns. What I'm going to bring you today is one of what I believe is the strongest builds in the game for Doctor Strange. Perfect for supporting all of your team and allowing them to do some massive damage. So if that interests you, stay tuned. That's coming up next. Welcome back everybody. Today we're going to be looking at another build guide, and this time it's going to be for none other than this fella right here, Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme. Now as always, if this helps you out, a like would be appreciated, and if you'd like to become a member of the channel for all the latest gaming content, then why not hit that subscribe and bell icon. But for now we're going to be looking at the very best support in the game, and that's Doctor Strange. I'll be kicking it off by showing you a little bit of his gameplay and what he's all about. Right, so the build we're actually going into today is going to be amazing for supporting your team. It's going to allow you to dish out quite a nice bit of damage, but that's not the main thing you're going for. As you can see here, the main thing we're going for is to be able to take out our enemies, but also grab Conceal. Being able to go into Conceal is going to be perfect for Doctor Strange, because he is quite a squishy character, and you don't want him taking too much of the aggro. Also, making sure you've got a lot of buff cards, ones that can help yourself and help the team out, is absolutely essential. And with the build we're going for, we can generate a massive amount of heroism, allowing for our stronger teammates to pull off some of the big heroic moves and do a huge amount of damage, decimating our foes. As you can see here, Hulk's taking full advantage of the fact that we can get into 10 heroism very easy. We're also going to be making sure that we've got a card in our deck that allows us to use items very freely. Probably a little bit overpowered, but it's a lot of fun to use, and it means we don't have to worry about the cooldown, so we can use some of the most powerful combat items in the game and then get them straight back, and we're able to get them in the following missions. This enables you to fill any gaps you think your team may be missing. Need more cards? Then grab an item that does that. You can even put 2 marked on every single character that's being taunted. This card is honestly a real game changer. So jumping over to the Doctor Strange build, and I found that this one worked the best by a very long margin. With Doctor Strange, you're not going for out and out damage, you're trying to help your team out. Most times that's by generating a whole bunch of heroism, giving them a lot of sustain, and by making sure that he himself doesn't fall over, because most of the time if he's face down on the floor, he's not going to be much help to the team. So to start off with, we've got 2 Bolt of Balfax. These actually do a nice bit of damage, but we're more so using it for the fact that it takes out those enemies, and because we've modded it, we've put it to Conceal, meaning that on KO you now get Conceal. Also it's going to be enhanced to do a bit more damage when we've got 4 and 6 heroism, which with this character you very often will have because of how much heroism he provides from his passives. So chuck on 2 of these and you should be golden, and you should be able to make sure that he survives pretty much every encounter, because when you're concealed you're not going to be targeted by those enemies. Jumping over to another standard attack, and we've got Winds of Watoomb. This one is just great for putting yourself into a nice position because it gives them a little knockback. It's got quick, meaning it won't cost a card if you can get a knockout, and unfortunately I completely ran out of money on this one, but exactly the same as above, you're going to want to make sure that it gives you Conceal. Keeping Doctor Strange alive is just an absolute vital thing to do, as the whole time he's on the battlefield your team is going to feel like a force to be reckoned with. Just over from here, and we've got Agamotto's Gaze. I found that with these cards, because they draw 2 attacks that have been played already, and they give a little buff to them with extra bits of damage, modifying them to also give a nice amount of heroism, so as you can see here they're going to give 4 each time, meant that myself and my team around me was completely topped up, and a lot of times were very much maxed out with 10 heroism. Allowing you to pull off some significant damage from your teammates who you'll rely on for doing that big damage with their heroic cards. Again, you're going to take 2 of these, whenever you pop them you're able to get 4 heroism so that you're never running short. Just down from here, and I think very possibly the most powerful card in the game, or at least in the top 3, and that's going to be Astral Meditation. This card is really underrated. If you've never used Doctor Strange before, or you've never invested in this card, start using it more often. It's just very overpowered. This is going to restore 2 combat items used within this mission. It's going to give us 2 redraws, Also, I've modified it so that it also draws 2 cards. This does pretty much everything, but the main thing is that it gives back the 2 combat items. Combat items in this game are very powerful. I'll chuck a couple on the screen now just to show you, but the legendary and the epic ones can completely turn the tides of battle and allow you to win within 1 or 2 turns very often. I found having one perfect, but if you found you were still struggling with this build or with your team, then put on 2 of these and take off one of the Agamottos. But the main thing to remember is that if you want to keep the items so that you'll be able to use them whenever you want, use the 2 items, use this card, and then they go straight back into your inventory, meaning that you don't lose them at all and can use them in the next mission. Just down from here and we've got the Blessing of the Vishanti. This is going to give your hero cards in your hand extra damage again for the whole of the mission. And again, we're making it so that it does a massive amount of heroism, so it's going to give us 4 every time we use this card. Remember, because we've got so many buffs going on in our build, and because we've got so many conceals, we're pretty much always concealed. Even if you use one of these buff cards after you're concealed, because you're not trying to out and out damage an enemy, it's not going to knock you out of that, the enemy's not going to target you, so instead they'll be focusing on someone that hopefully you'll be able to put counter attack or something along those lines on. And last but definitely not least, we have Shield of the Seraphim. This card is ridiculously powerful, it really is. If you've got just 3 heroism, it's going to make sure that you and all of your allies have 1 resist throughout the entire round. It's also able to cure all of your allies. I've changed it over so that it's a free card. If I'm in a bind and I haven't got any turns left, I can still use this to aid my team. If however you've got at least 6 heroism, it's going to change it so that you've got 2 resist. For 2 rounds, most times you and your team aren't going to take much damage whatsoever. So it works perfect as an out and out safety card, just in case your team hasn't got conceal or they're low on health. Because of how much heroism you've now got going on in this build, it means that you can kind of use the cards whenever you need them. You're not going to be spamming them, but you will be able to get a very high amount of heroism with this deck. So it works perfect hand in hand with some heavy damage dealers, for example the Hunter or the Hulk. Lastly, just in case you didn't know, his passive, the Greater Good, means that he has a chance to generate 2 heroism each turn. This is just ridiculous. It's one of the best passives in the game. It really helps you out, and you'll very often find that this comes around and again helps your team to be fully topped up on that heroism, allowing you to pull out some of the biggest hits you can with your cards. Right, you gamers, hopefully that's helped a few of you guys and girls out. I think this is a very nice build. It works perfect in a support build to help your allies, and you can have a lot of fun with this because you can chuck out cards very constant, and being able to use those items very often also makes it very overpowered. But yeah, let me know in the comments who's your favourite character that you're using, what's your favourite team of 3 heroes. But as always, for All Things Gaming, take care, I'll see you on next day.